Well, hey everybody, it's Sandy and welcome back to my channel dedicated to helping you advocate for your own health one topic at a time. So guys, I got a request asking if I would please review the Happy Mask. So if you want to see my full review on the Happy Mask, just keep watching. Okay, so I've been getting a lot of requests for more fabric masks, which I've asked for, so thank you so much. I so appreciate suggestions. Even when I choose not to review them for one reason or another, I always appreciate recommendations and suggestions. And I have been sort of light on the plain old fabric masks. So I just want to reiterate the criteria that the fabric masks have to meet in order for me to want to purchase and review. That doesn't mean I'm going to purchase and review every single one of them, obviously, but they do have to have a moisture wicking inner layer, a middle layer that's made out of some sort of a non-woven, like for example polypropylene, maybe polyethylene, and then the outer layer has to be water repellent. Now those aren't the criteria when it comes to a high-tech mask. When it comes to some sort of a high-tech textile and antimicrobial, then it sort of depends on its testing and a little bit the materials that it's made out of as well. Now the CDC guidelines are similar to mine, except for that the CDC doesn't require that the middle layer have a non-woven or polypropylene or anything like that. Given the variety of masks that are available now on the market, I want to limit my searches to something with a middle layer that is non-woven like polypropylene. I explained in a video earlier about what I look for in a fabric mask. I'm going to link that video here. That video goes into a detailed discussion about the benefits of polypropylene over almost any other fabric that might be in that middle layer. All right, so on to the Happy Mask. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the mask, the layers, the price point, delivery, etc. And then we'll do some of our usual testing with the water drops on the inner layer and on the outer layer. And I think I'll even do the whole crude water test. I did a video a while back on the water test and the match test. I'm going to link that right here. But maybe going forward, I'll be performing that on these fabric masks because it only makes sense, right? And it gives us a good idea of how the mask is functioning. And then I'll tell you about my thoughts on it. We'll put it on, show you how it looks, and tell you how it feels. So the Happy Mask retails for $24 a piece. Shipping is $6, postage and handling. That's in the United States. They also sell a mask case, which looks like nothing more than a simple plastic case, and that's for $8. Of course, I didn't buy that. The mask is made in Taiwan. It comes in this little cellophane pack with a card inside, so I'm going to show you. Take your mask out and you've got this little card, and basically one side it says Happy Masks and the other side you have your washing instructions. You know, I thought this was a 3-layer mask from reading its description, but it turns out it's actually kind of a 5-layer mask. So I'm going to talk about that here. You open it up. I just picked a plain old gray one. They have some with all different kinds of fun designs on them and fun colors. The inside is like this fluorescent yellow green. I actually kind of don't like that, but so they say that the mask has the outer layer, the inner layer, and then the middle, which is actually 3 layers itself. The middle layer of this mask actually comprises 3 smaller layers. So in a way, it's like a 5-layer mask. So the outer layer, they say, is water repellent. The inner layer is supposed to be moisture wicking, even up to 10 hours. Now the middle layer is made out of a very thin filter, like much thinner than even human hair. It's supposed to have a filtration capacity of 99.9%. I'm not going to get all into that because, as those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, I don't put a whole lot of stock into filters that claim to filter such tiny little particles because in general I think that pretty much diverts more air to leak from around the mask. So it just speaks to you have to have a better mask fit. Now, in addition to that, they don't say what size, how many microns, 99.9% at 0.3 microns, 0.5 microns. They don't really specify. So suffice it to say, it has a very tight weave filter in there, and that is sandwiched between layers of a non-woven polypropylene. So you have, in this order, the outer layer, then you've got a thin layer of polypropylene, then the filter, then another layer of polypropylene, and then this inner layer. Now the filter inside here is supposed to retain its efficacy for up to 50 washes. And by washing, it is not machine washable, by the way, guys. They say that you are to soak the mask in cold water with just a drop of detergent for about 10 minutes. So I would, of course, suds that up and dissolve that detergent. They say that for makeup or stains or anything on the inside that you can gently use like a brush, maybe a toothbrush or something, and a tiny bit of detergent and just softly brush it. They say gently rinse the soap off so that you're rinsing it with clean water, but be careful not to rub or wring. So it does seem like it needs to be treated with a fair amount of gentility. And then you allow the mask to air dry. Now, I did see the question addressed on their website, and I'm sure the question is going to come up here in the comment box. So I thought I would just go over like, geez, can you really get this thing sanitized since it's not got any kind of a high-tech antimicrobial textile with just like a soak in water and that little bit of detergent? Their answer is yes, because that detergent, of course, is an emulsifier, and just like soap on your hands, that detergent will break down lipids, oils, and viral particles are surrounded by lipid. Bacterial particles have membranes that are lipid, and soap in general just disrupts those membranes, rendering them inactive. But they also say that if you want some added security about disinfection, that you can spray this with a 70% isopropyl alcohol, I guess, in a spray bottle after the washing. So I haven't tried that. So if anybody does purchase this mask, let me know if you try that. Let me know how you like it. Now, they also speak to longevity on the website, and they say that it should last roughly 250 hours, after which point the filter in that middle layer will be clogged and won't be as breathable, so that at some point you might notice that the airflow through the mask is just not as easy. And that's a signal that this thing is getting old. It needs to be discarded and replaced. So I guess it would be interesting to see and keep a tally which comes first, the 250 hours, or the 50 washes. I would think 50 washes, because you're going to wash this every day, given that it is a fabric mask without a profound antimicrobial technology in it. So I think I would look at the 50 washes period. And if it got difficult to breathe through for some reason, then of course I would throw it away before that happened. Okay, so I'm just going to try it on for you. So the first thing I noticed, I took it out of the box. I'm going to try to give you a close up here. It almost looks like that mesh like you see on athletic wear. This is a really thin layer of mesh that I can like kind of pull away from the rest of the mask. And then same thing on the inside. That's also that same really, whoops, let me get that out of your way. That's that same like lightweight mesh that you see like in athletic wear with these like really breathable holes. And it really is almost see-through, because when I look through this side with the gray, I can actually see some of that fluorescent. I don't think I can make that happen by showing it to you on your side, even with that light. I've got a light right behind me, but it's hard to see that. But when I hold it up to the light, looking with my naked eye through it, I can see that pale green membrane. Now, it does have ear adjusters, and guys, it's got the kind I really like. It's these jelly, kind of really easy. All you have to do is pull in one direction or another. Very stretchy straps, okay? And these are really soft cord, okay? This is like that round cord. It doesn't sit flat, but it's really soft, okay? It almost feels like a foam. And this just slides, so there's no hard plastics and having to press buttons and things that I don't like that for arthritic fingers. It does have a nose piece, so yay. The nose piece is not real long, but I'm going to show you that when I put it on. So what I'm going to do, since this is one continuous loop, I can adjust it so that I've got this ear adjuster all the way down so that it's going to sit right here and not be hung up right here behind my ear. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on for you. So it does have this, the nose piece is right up here. It's got quite a curve on it. One of the things that they market with this mask is that it's designed to have enough structure that this sort of stays away from the nostrils and the mouth. So I'll get back to you on that here momentarily. Get this a little bit tighter. You don't have to keep these down here. I know these look weird, but I just don't like the adjusters sitting up right alongside my ear. So it does have a nice nose piece. It's thick and it's pliable, but it only comes out to about here, guys. Like, yeah, right. It's the end of it is right here. So maybe in line with my pupils. So it doesn't give me a lot of leverage to really conform this. Let's see if I can give you, sort of ends right here. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of leverage, but we're going to test it out with the goggles. Now, I do think it cups down nicely under the chin. I can take a big deep breath in. It doesn't suck in, and I don't think that's necessarily because I'm not breathing through the filter. I probably am somewhat. I'm probably leaking as well, because I always say there's some leak with any mask. But this piece is pretty rigid right here, probably more so than the Ever brand. And it keeps it away from your nose and mouth, so this isn't going to really move. It almost feels like I think there's a wire in there of some sort. Now, I will say that when I breathe out heavily, even though I've got this nose piece tucked down, I do feel more of the leak coming from up here than I do from down here. I could try loosening this a bit and see, because I always say that I prefer actually to have leak down at the bottom than up at the top. Yeah, I don't know. And some of that has to do with the shape of your face. So let's give it a try with the safety goggles. I do have a fair amount of fogging with those. Let's see. See if I put them up here, what happens. Probably less so. I'd say these are somewhere in the middle. They're not the best I've ever, it's not the best mask I've ever used in terms of fogging. It's certainly not the worst. But I will say that now that I've adjusted that nose piece, I do feel a little more of my exhalant coming from down here. So that's where the leak is. Of course, that probably means I'm inhaling some from down here as well. So let's do our water testing. Let's take a look. It looks to me like these two sides are the same. So I'll be sort of interested to see if one is hydrophilic and one is hydrophobic. But this one, oh, guys, look at that. The outside's not even moisture resistant, and they said it is. Definitely not. I mean, I can't even get it to roll when it's downhill. It soaks right in. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Let's see about this side. Well, that's definitely moisture wicking, as it should be. Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that whole water test then that I had promised. I'm going to put 3 whole droppers full in here and wait and see what happens to the outside. Actually, let's do 4 just for good measure. So yeah, it's soaked in. It is totally dry out here, guys. It is totally dry. So that layer in the middle is definitely hydrophobic. There's something very water resistant. There must be using a very hydrophobic polypropylene in there, because this middle area where the water soaked through is not at all wet. So I'm going to add a little bit more, and then I'm just going to wait a minute and just make sure that, let's see if it takes some period of time for the water to work through. Maybe it's actually going to get wet on this side. I've got the inside of the mask completely soaked at this point. Yeah, this is completely dry on the outside despite several droppers full. Okay, let's do the match test. Ah, that wasn't for me. My match seems to want to go out and facing in this direction. Let me do it this way. I think I've got a little bit of AC coming from the fan. Okay, so it passes the match test. I do feel a fair amount of leak when I blow hard coming from the bottom of the mask. You know, one thing I do wonder about with this mask is just how much I'm getting through that tight filter. And I thought I would see by maybe holding it down. It's still quite breathable. I could find out for sure by taping it all around and giving you a sense of how breathable it is. All right, so I want to give you my thoughts on this mask, but in the few minutes it's been since I kind of cleaned up from the match test and the water test, I see now that this is becoming wet here. I don't know if you can see, here's a line. This is dry and this is wet. So obviously there has been some permeation from the water test that I did on this side through to this side. Now, it took a while, so I think that the polypropylene that they have in here is a profoundly water resistant polypropylene. It took a long time to get through, but I guess what we've learned here is that this is not a hydrophobic outside. So given that, I guess it doesn't meet either the CDC criteria or Sandy's criteria because it is really important that this outside layer is hydrophobic. I'm pretty disappointed that they say on their website that it is. I did communicate with them by email when I was exploring whether to purchase this mask for review, and they told me that the outer layer is hydrophobic. Clearly it is not. That's too bad because I was going to say that I could see a particular place for people who are extremely claustrophobic in masks, because this rigidity here is just so solid that there's just none of that sucking in and blowing out. It's really pretty far away from the face, and I think that's a really smart design. But I'd just say they have to redesign this mask to meet criteria. And even if it did meet criteria, I was thinking that at $24 a mask, given the market today with what's available, and maybe a few months ago it would have been different, but there's just so many products out there now to meet this need that I don't think there's any reason to spend $24 on a single mask that has to be just so gently barely washed and rocked like a baby and treated just so up to 50 times. I mean, really? So yeah, this is a disappointment, guys. So I'm glad that I had a chance to do it, though. I'm really happy that somebody recommended it, because I'm always happy about the suggestions and comments and questions and feedback. And it looked like it was going to be a great mask. I'm so surprised, but I can't really recommend it. So I'm glad that I've saved somebody else that money. So going forward, I do have a couple other masks I'm looking at reviewing. I thought more about those couple of videos that I've done where I look what's inside the mask. I don't think I'm going to do that too often because I just don't want to be that destructive and wasteful, but I do want to do that with the Everbrand mask. So I'm going to be doing that soon, just because I so highly recommend the Everbrand mask. I've really kind of fallen in love with that one in the fabric mask category. It ticks all the boxes and it's at a great price point. So I think coming up soon, we're going to open that one up and see how the material in the middle behaves, even though it's been subjected to the water test. Then additionally, coming up soon, I'm going to talk about some more inflammatory stuff. So namely dry eyes. Dry eyes are really overrepresented in autoimmune disease. And I know that I've got several viewers who have autoimmune disease. I personally have struggled with dry eye for a long time, and I've recently actually bought a product to use that's supposed to help with dry eye. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and review that on this channel. But if you have a chance, let me know in the comment box if dry eye is something that you suffer with, and if you happen to know its cause, because there are many causes for dry eye. Thank you for recommending that I look at the Happy Mask, even though it didn't work out. Not so happy with the Happy Mask, but I'm glad that I'm able to save other people the money of buying this mask that just doesn't live up to even its own statements, much less the CDC guidelines or Sandy's. So until next time, be well. Bye-bye.